in 2009 with the discovery of telomeres. This changed the way we look at aging and longevity. 3 scientists got the Nobel Prize for this. And why? At the end of the DNA chain, there are telomeres. These are at the end of the chromosomes. They protect the DNA every time it duplicates. And every time we duplicate cells, this part shortens a bit. This is aging. We've seen that this is linked to aging. Now, mesenchymal stem cells basically comes in, releases, activates telomerase, which actually protects these telomeres. Junk DNA at the end of the chromosomes, but they're protective to our DNA. This is where the DNA repair happens. This is a game changer. This is the future of longevity, is how we live longer. And we're starting to get it. We're right at the beginning. Mesenchymal stem cells is our way in. Welcome to another podcast. Today it's an exciting podcast. We're talking about a revolution in regenerative medicine. Mesenchymal stem cells, but not mesenchymal stem cells as you probably know it from your own body or from your fat cells or from your bone marrow. No. These are umbilical cord mesenchymal stem cells. Wharton's jelly. The power, not only that, but the power of the exosomes that comes with it. And so when we look at this, we're going to deep dive into it and we're going to see what type of reverse aging and basically health benefits this has. And it has both regenerative as well as longevity benefits. It is amazing. Now, before we get into it, I need to explain mesenchymal stem cells. For those of you that haven't seen my previous episodes on this, it's basically derived from the placenta and the umbilical cord of the baby. Now, I did it in 1999 when my son was born. I had cord blood taken out from his umbilical cord, put in a cord blood bank. And that was for later use. I already knew at that time that this would be a critical part in healing in the future. And we're at that point. We're at that point where it's being used. Now, as of now in Europe and the United States, it's very limited. Switzerland, yes, you can get it. Mexico, you can get it. Turkey, that's where we're actually doing it. And we've trained over 5,000 physicians here in different fields of medicine to use mesenchymal stem cells for various reasons. But today we're going to specifically talk about the anti-aging, or anti-aging is a bad word. We shouldn't use it. Age reversal, this is what you can use. And we know from the research, and I talk about this all the time, what are the critical things that you need to get right? You need to get your strength right. You need to get your VO2 max, which means your endurance engine right. And that will give you the most bang for the buck. Then you need to get your nutrition right. But here, and supplements, of course, but here we're really talking about something that is regenerative, and it's part of regenerative medicine. Why did I say that? Because this basically allows your cells to basically become young again. Now, our cells exchange. Every year, every cell in our body has died and basically renewed itself. Now, as we age, they renew weaker, older. We put more damage on them. Remember when we had CDs and you scratched them? CDs that scratches, that's what happens to your DNA. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to also talk about how other therapies can help actually enhance the effects of stem cell therapy. But first, I want to go through some studies. Okay, when we look at one of the studies, recent studies in the Journal of Molecular Science, we have the potential of mesenchymal stem cells derived exosomes. Now, exosomes are the smallest particles that carry all the messages, carry all kind of the information of the cell. and they're the smallest particle, and they come from the mesenchymal stem cells. So they're derived in lab from there, and then we can inject. The reason they're so powerful is because they're nanoparticles. They can pass through barriers, meaning all the barriers that we have, the blood-brain barrier, cartilage, you name it, tissue, tendons, they can just pass through there and start telling your body, giving your body the information to regenerate its own cells younger. So how does it do this? Here are some of the things that it's able to do. It's neuroprotective and immunomodulatory, which means it basically protects your nervous system, the whole system. It enhances your immune system, all right? It has microRNAs, growth factor, anti-inflammatory cytokines. So inflammation is a big deal. And we know as we age, we have more inflammation. Obvious one is arthritis. But other than that, just tissues, we have inflammation in our body. If we eat too much, if we're obese, if we're not exercising enough, all these things basically bring on inflammation. And inflammation chronically just deteriorates us. Okay? Here we are. The role in attenuating neuroinflammation, promoting neovascularization, and inducing neurogenesis. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that it actually promotes us to produce more vessels, so blood can reach further to the tissue, better to the tissue. More oxygen, more blood reaches there, the cells are healthier. The other thing that it does is it basically does the neurogenesis. So it actually helps our neurons and helps our nervous system basically recover, grow, be more efficient. And this is what happens when we get older. We get neurodegenerative disease, cognitive decline. All these things are mitigated. When we look at this, we look at reducing neural cell apoptosis. So this whole thing opens up complete new avenues for cognitive repair. And as we age, one of the big kind of things that we're scared of is cognitive decline. Diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, you name it. And so if we can get a protection from this, then need we say more? And this shows in studies. The clinical applications of mesenchymal stem cells goes beyond this, beyond neurocognition. If we're looking at the research by Osiris Therapeutics, they've demonstrated the capabilities to reduce inflammation in conditions like graft versus host, significantly improving survival rates and reducing the severity of inflammatory diseases. And due to their low immunogenicity, it allows the use from allogenic sources, further expanding their therapeutic reach. What does this mean? With these particles, the body isn't able to react against them. The body doesn't detect it as a foreign substance because they're nanoparticles. And this is mesenchymal stem cell exosomes. So these tiny particles are able to move through barriers. They're not detected, and we talked about this. And they're able to do their work. They're bringing in the information our cells need to regenerate, to become healthier. And it's nerve cells, it's different tissue, organ tissue. It's basically bringing more blood to the area, and helping our vascularity, helping our neurons and our nerve fibers. Studies suggest that targeting specific genes and environmental factors can delay aging, with stem cells playing a crucial role in regenerating aged tissue and reversing cellular senescence. Now, why is this important? Cellular senescence is basically cells that aren't working anymore, that are just paralyzed, lame, not doing anything. But the problem is they can become toxic with time. So we need to either clear them or wake them back up. And with these therapies, that's exactly what we're doing. So in short, now all these studies will be available in the description below, so you can look at them, you can read them for yourselves, and you go deeper into it. I'm going over it because I have a varied audience, and I really want the attention span to stay here and not severe because I go too deep in the material. So this approach doesn't only, tackle the symptomatic treatment of aging, but also addresses the underlying biological process. And when we look at what is affected, we're looking at immunomodulatory functions, mitigating inflammation, promoting tissue repair, and tissue repair everywhere. We've used it extensively with orthopedics. I have used it personally with my shoulder problem that I've had for 20 years. If anyone does sports, anyone does lifting or anything like that, you're going to have issues, shoulders, elbows, whatever. And sometimes these are staying because it's just damage. It's just old damage. It's rotator cuff issues. It's bicep tendonitis, and it's tissue that doesn't get enough blood supply. So it's not prone to healing. Like a muscle can heal much better, or it could be old injuries, like in the knees, the kneecaps. I've fallen from a mountain bike, I've fallen snowboarding, I've fallen, you name it. With all the sports I do, I've gotten hits, okay? Everywhere. And my knees are ones that have gotten a lot of hits. But it doesn't even need to be that. You could have just bad knees. You could have inflammation in knees. I've had mesenchymal stem cells and exosomes injected to my knees and my shoulders. And I'm telling you, there's nothing that compares. No hyaluronic acid mixed with cortisone. Forget about that. That's old school. That's archaic. This is truly the next level. Truly the next level. And that's from my own experience. I'm able to go back and bench, squat, do whatever, no pain, really. And I've seen worse. The effects are significant. But let's go a step further. Let's go into, when we talk about aging, I often talk about, the key parameters of aging, which is one, your strength. That's massive in all-cause mortality. It's your VO2 max, which if you have a high VO2 max for your age and gender, guaranteed you're going to live longer. And that's your cardiovascular engine. Now, what makes that? What makes that is your mitochondria. How efficiently your mitochondria work. Mitochondria is the engine of your cells, and it's basically how you assimilate oxygen, how the mitochondria works, and gives you that energy. Children have a lot of mitochondria, and they got new mitochondria working really hard. That's why they got energy forever. When you look at an older person, very slow, their motor function just isn't where it is. Their energy isn't where it is. They can't run as far as to when they were kids. This is the mitochondria. This is the work of the mitochondria. It does everything. Without mitochondria, we don't live. This is the engine. This is what keeps us alive. So when you see the research and you realize that mesenchymal stem cells actually brings repair to mitochondrial proliferation, you get more, and the mitochondrial DNA actually gets repaired. This is amazing. This is like groundbreaking. There isn't anything that does it as well as mesenchymal stem cells. And what mesenchymal cells is? I'm talking about umbilical cord mesenchymal stem cells, okay? I'm not talking about your own fat mesenchymal stem cells. We're older, man. We've partied. We've done everything. Our stem cells are like, dude, tired, weak, older. They're going to have to go to the lab and start trying to duplicate to get enough to give you back. And as they go beyond 3 duplications, it starts getting weaker. And it's not strong to begin with, but a baby's mesenchymal stem cells, the umbilical cord, we're doing nothing with the baby, lives forever, nothing happens, okay? I did it to my son, nothing. It's the umbilical. Before we cut the umbilicals, we just take the blood, we take the tissue, and out go. These are stem cells that actually have to take us from a baby to a teenager. Now imagine power and the amount of stem cells that takes. So these are the ones we're taking. And we don't have allergies against them because our body doesn't react against them. With the mesenchymal exosomes, neither. Okay, so that's the first question. People are, well, I'm going to react. No, you're not. It's not going to happen. But the news is you're going to have to go, probably if you're living in the West, outside of the country, to get them. It's worth it. Trust me. So when we look at that, we see that these mesenchymal stem cells restore the TFAM, okay? expression to prevent DNA damage, mitochondrial DNA, and cytosolic mitochondrial DNA, which is leakage in target cells. Now, the other thing is that we know with the mitochondria, I've talked about this before, if we all overeat. If we're having a lot of fat, we're not eating fat, but we could lose some weight. We're overeating. We're basically overloading the mitochondria. When we overload the mitochondria, what happens? Mitochondria produces ROS. ROS produces oxidative stress. Oxidative stress produces inflammation in our body, and inflammation affects us all. Chronic inflammation breaks down everything in our bodies. If we have something, mesenchymal that can basically reverse that, that is phenomenal. And research after research, I have it here, will show you that's exactly what it does. Now, one of the things that, there's a couple of things that can really assist in this therapy. There's two things that come to mind. Of course, we said your exercise program needs to be on point. That's number one. And that means strength and endurance. Your nutrition and supplementation needs to be good. You need to be at your fighting weight. You need to get to your fighting weight. You have to, and this basically triggers your genes to live longer. So you need to keep your weight down. When we have overweight, it hampers everything. It destructs everything. So we really need to get to our fighting weight. Secondly, thirdly, fourth thing, we need sleep. Sleep is critical because this is where we give our body time to reset everything, reset our cells, DNA repair. This is where memories get put into our brain gets to rest, we get to consolidate what we've learned, everything. We need sunlight, okay, to trigger our circadian rhythm. These are the things we need. And then we have something. And this is, again, my background, not only am I a doctor in medical sciences, but also a doctor of chiropractic a long time ago. But chiropractic, its idea is to basically assist the innate potential of the body to heal itself. We make sure that the nerves in the body and the nervous system can function optimally. Now, combined with mesenchymal stem cells, it's a combination that is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It'll take it to the next level. And I think more research needs to come on this, of course, but it's something that I'm seeing very clearly from here. The other thing that can be incorporated is hyperbaric oxygen chamber or hyperbaric medicine. I've set up a hyperbaric medicine chamber a lot of years ago in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and we were treating diabetic wound healing. We were treating all kinds of stuff, but we're recently looking at the effects of hyperbaric medicine for aging. And we're seeing that if the whole idea of hyperbaric oxygen is that I'm taking you to 2 atmospheres, so I'm compressing everything. It's like when you dive, right? And then I'm introducing pure oxygen. So the molecule is compressed, and because it's compressed, it's able to leave the capillaries, leave the blood, and go into the tissue. And for people that have has had a heart attack, get there as soon as possible. If you had a stroke, get there as soon as possible. It really helps to keep the tissue alive, keep the tissue that didn't have oxygen, try to recover it. Now, the combination is phenomenal. Hyperbaric medicine will play a big role, and we know that when the body gets deprived, the longevity genes are triggered. SIRT1, you name it. There's a whole list of them that gets triggered, and there's all these cascades and pathways that happen. mTOR, this, that, which I've gone over. I'm not going to go over in this episode, but so you might be asking, okay, hyperbaric oxygen, you're getting huge amounts of oxygen. It's overflowing in the body. Yes, it is. And that would not necessarily trigger these genes. But when you come off of it, when you get out of the chamber and you go back to 1 atmosphere and oxygen mix being normal, your body all feels like, oh my God, we're going into depletion. this is when it happens. So this is a theory, but we're seeing it. We're seeing the results. We have to look at the processes closer. So there's some research, but we're already clinically seeing the results of this. So this is huge. These are the things that are going to break the way we think in medicine about regenerative medicine. And together, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So you're getting a preview here. It's all already available. Everything I talk about is already available. You can have at your disposal. Yes, it depends on your income, whatever. But if you can't, know it. You have to know it. And also realize that, again, what's the bread and butter? The bread and butter is exercise, nutrition, sleep, light. These are, and there's a couple more, but these are, if you don't hit these basics, don't bother with the rest of this. But the science is moving quickly. We're in Turkey, in Istanbul, all over Turkey actually, and we're treating quite a bit of patients. And we're seeing phenomenal results with mesenchymal stem cells, exosomes, fibroblasts, you name it. And not only changes that we do cosmetically like the face, you have physicians working on the face, but we have people with diabetes, we have people with multiple sclerosis, we've got some major stuff coming down that is being helped really well with this. So, yeah, it's a great time we're living in. It's a great time we're living in. Take advantage of it. And I'll probably do a deep dive in the orthopedic side of it a little more. I'll do a deep dive into hyperbaric medicine and also the combination of chiropractic. That chiropractic potentially could have with mesenchymal stem cells, exosomes, fibroblasts, etc. in our bodies. Because listen, and orthopedics, of course, because listen, when we get older, if we're not moving fluently, if we've got problems with our joints, if we've got problems with our tendons, if we've got problems with our cartilage because of age, because of old damage, because of falls, whatever, and we're not able to move, then how are we going to do the strength? How are we going to do the VO2 max, which are critical to our longevity? I want 90-year-old athletes. I'm not going to have 90-year-old athletes if your knee ain't working, or your shoulder, you got a bum shoulder, or an elbow. So I need this fixed. Okay? And cortisone, hyaluronic acid, the old staples of the orthopedic sides, don't work anymore. They know it. And they're moving here. They're moving to this. So the guys that know, and this is what they do. So we need you there. All right? Stay tuned. Thank you for being here, following it. If you followed all the way to the end, ring the bell notification. You know what to do. Subscribe. Get more people to subscribe. We've got great stuff coming. And it's only getting better. So help the channel grow. Thank you very much. See you soon. And remember, with me, you're going to get healthier. You're going to see the best you ever. So let's get this game going. All right.